Hello and welcome to In Focus. I'm your host, Yesenia Taveras. JC Livingston is the CEO and founder of Hope for Humanity, a nonprofit organization that works with our homeless population and gives them the opportunity to become successful community members through physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual growth. He joins us now to give us an insight on who he is as a person and why he founded his organization. Welcome to the show, JC.
How are you doing, Yes?
Good,
good. To see you.
We've always crossed paths. It's amazing to have you here now.
Yes, it is. Well, thank you for having me here today.
Yes, our pleasure. So it's definitely Hispanic Heritage Month.
Yes,
we still have
it
a few
is.
days here.
Yes, it is. Busy week.
Yes, busy week. Everyone's celebrating, have been celebrating.
Okay.
But let our viewers know a little bit about your nationality because some may not know.
Yeah, everybody thinks I'm Dominican, but
Right?
I'm not Dominican. I was born in Panama. My mother is from Costa Rica, raised in New York, so I was in Brooklyn for most of my whole life.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Bushwick,
Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Okay.
Yeah,
So
Brooklyn.
talk to us a little bit about how did you and your family make their way here to Delaware?
So my parents, they basically are ministers. They were invited to come to the States and continue the church in New York.
Okay.
They were actually in the music, so they extended the ministry over here. They took over a church, and from here, they actually moved here to Delaware to open another church where now they are having, I guess, somewhere in Newcastle.
Okay.
So the reason why I got here is basically my father had an offer for a bank, Chase Manhattan Bank, and we
Okay.
were actually moving from there to Delaware. So that's how I came here from the beginning.
And
So-
how has it been for you as a Latino here in the country?
Oh my God, the change was so different. It was actually great. You know, in my country, we only go to school for 4 hours, 4 to 5 hours. So one day we go in the morning, and the next day we go from the afternoon to the evening. So the change that you'll have here, like 8 hours to 9 hours of school, was definitely drastic for me.
Okay.
So it was a very bad change. The communication of the language, the barrier that we had. You know, in our country, the language we speak is patois. So it's like a Jamaican English. So you can only imagine the the struggles that I had just trying to, you know, get along in high school and stuff like that. So
Yes, a lot of people don't understand, even though it's a great thing to be bilingual.
it is.
It could take us, well, I don't know, sometimes it takes other people a little longer to learn Spanish, but for us it takes a while for us to learn English too. We have that broken side
It's so
first
comfortable.
before we become fluent.
Yes, we become very comfortable in the language, and you know, it becomes it's how we identify ourselves. So
Definitely.
and but it wasn't that difficult to learn it, believe it or not, because I had a lot of friends and I was, you know, interacting with a lot of people that speak English.
Yes,
So that helped
makes a
a lot.
difference.
Yes, it does.
It's the same thing with Americans when they go to learn Spanish or any other language.
Yes.
If you study abroad or you go live in that country and you immerse yourself in that culture, it's so much easier.
Yes, it is. Trust me. So it was good. I can't complain. It was a great experience. I'm the type of man that like to learn a lot of things. So just knowing this new culture for me was great for me. A great experience. The only difference was, I guess, you know, there's a lot more violence in the schools here than where I come from.
Okay.
So the whole graffiti thing and the young kids smoking in the entrance, like we don't see that where I'm from, you know. And that was a very bad change. You know, I was very uncomfortable. I was a little intimidated by it, to be honest. I told my parents at that age, I was like, I want to go back. I don't want to be here.
Right.
But you know, you adapt and you get used to it. So
That's
that's how
right.
it was for me.
That's right. And you're also a father.
Yes, I am.
Talk to us
Thank
a little
God.
bit about yes, congratulations. I know much older now, but they grow up so fast.
So yes. So I did fall in love when I was very young, at the age of 19, 20 years old. And yeah, there you see there my niece and my nephew and my daughter's Melody. She is the last one. But my oldest, Sophia Livingston, she is actually always with me, and I raised her since I was probably 21.
Okay.
Today she is 19 years old, so
Wow.
that was the toughest one, but she has a heart of gold.
Wonderful.
Yes. So my other children, Hasiel, Himuel, and Julia.
And how has it been for you to just make sure your roots are grounded and making sure your children can kind of self-identify themselves as part of who you are?
So I think that for my parents, actually I gave my parents that they did a great job with me. You know, they're all about culture. We the type of family, they always enforce us stay on the table, you know, talking about our days. if we ever had like any discomforts, we always have the freedom to come and just express it among us. We kind of probably just problem solvers on our own. So there's a lot of things that we do differently, I guess, but it's always because we're united.
Right.
You don't see that a lot here. The whole when home is we always united, and we're pretty transparent in everything that we do.
Right.
So
Even through the bad too.
correct. So I passed that on with my children because I'm very creative. When I was a child, I've seen a lot of kids that you usually get like they bought presents and stuff like that. In my case, because of the poverty that we have in our countries, I used to build my own toys.
Oh, wow.
So I was trying to introduce to the kids, this, and they'd be like, "Oh, amazed, like, Dad, how you did this?" But just to become more creative, I guess, in everything that we do. Everything is easily handed here, and my children love me because of that. There's not, yeah.
And we also talked about too how in our countries, my father's from Dominican Republic, my mother's from Puerto Rico, but we're more of the type of people that we like to talk to each other as opposed to phone and technology and things of that nature. So
that interaction, that connection
makes a big difference.
Yes. Did I tell you I just came back from Puerto Rico actually?
Yes.
And it was a good refresher. Like just to be sitting there drinking coffee, people don't even know you, greeting you, welcoming you to the place, and you can actually just sit there and literally hear all the conversations of people just knowing each other. Nobody in the neighborhood ignores who it is. Like, they know exactly who lives there, who lives 10 houses down from there.
Yes.
And that was a beautiful thing for me to experience again.
Definitely is, and it gives you a lot of time off your phones.
It sure does. It sure does.
So let's talk about you in the Marines, your experience. How was that?
That was another great experience. To believe that I was raised and everything that I learned from my parents, it was ripped away, My completed, when they ripped your name, your identity, and you're being called a recruit, or you're called whatever other names, 3 months, 90 days of that training, and at the end when you finally achieve everything, the crucible, and you hear your name again, like, oh my God, that is my name. Like, it just breaks you down in tears, because it's like, everything about you, they ripped it and they rebuilt it for you. Wow. So you hear you're a whole different man that you didn't know you was. You have overcome all your weaknesses, and I became a Marine.
And how, it's just so amazing to hear you share your story, because you're from Panama. You were born and raised in Panama, and here you are serving our country.
Correct.
You went through the experience as a Marine. That's just amazing to hear.
And I will do it again. I loved it.
And so was it an experience that you went through the Marines, or something else in life that kind of helped you birth the idea of Hope for Humanity?
I believe it was more because of the lifestyle I grew up with my father and my parents, being that they were ministers. Since an early age, I grew up in the gospel, and serving people, period.
Okay.
My parents were always like leaders in the community. There was a terrible earthquake in Costa Rica one time, like 7.4, I think. A lot of people died. And the authorities of that community gave my parents the leadership to actually give out the food. And I can remember that as a child. I probably was like 9 years old. Okay. Me handing food to the people. They were actually coming in tears, and they were broken, were wounded. And as a kid, literally, I was serving and making sure people, like, their wounds was covered. They would come to the church, and we would just talk to them. As a kid, I was able to witness that, and that kind of penetrated in me through my whole life. When I started working at RVRC, when I first came out of the Marine Corps, I started working at RVRC, and I was exposed to the need here in Delaware of the homeless population. Right. When I actually saw families in the woods, I've seen tents covered with drugs and needles everywhere, and that thing broke my heart, like really broke my heart. And I was like, we can do more. We can do more. And I worked there for a little bit. Things didn't really work out, so I started the whole movement for Hope for Humanity, believing that we can do more. Right. So it all started with just coffee and donuts.
I remember.
In exchange for their story. So it was a beautiful thing. These individuals are basically walking into the streets, ignored. They don't get acknowledged. It was funny, one day I just basically stopped one day and I just shook somebody's hand. And he looked at me like I was weird, like, literally his eyes just started tearing up and say, thank you for acknowledging me. And he just kept walking. So You know, some people, they just want to sit down and have a conversation, and they will tell their stories, and they will have breakthroughs just by telling their stories. So what I did was basically get some coffee and donuts and started at Ronnie Square. And that's, you know, they was like, yeah, is this coffee free? Well, it's not really free. I want to know your story. And they were like, what? My story? So yeah, they will sit down and you can see them, you know, telling how they got there. And I took that information and basically advocated for them in any way that I could. If it was food they needed, they'd give them food. If it was clothing, I would take their sizes, come back the next weekend and hand it over. If it was employment, I will communicate with people that have connections and get them jobs. If there was identifications that they needed, I will take the time, see the information, take on a DMV if they needed to, and pretty much holding people's hands along their way until they was able to make it.
And it's grown over the years. You started with coffee, but here you see yourself feeding them and taking them in. Yes. You even cut their hair. Like, talk to us how your mission evolved to what it is.
Well, I'm actually very grateful for the people that that helped out and supported. You know, some of the pictures that we have in there are showing the individuals that took the time to either cook for the homeless, to prepare the meals as well. I had a good amount of people that supported the whole movement, and because of them, we became, you know, we started growing more. Right. But even that, when I was at the Rodney Square, when I saw that, okay, they're hungry, we fed them, they have no clothing, we have clothes now for them. They had a good conversation, yes, whole renewal, and we need more, you know, we need to do more. They're homeless, so they need a home. So I literally sold my car. I sold my car and I got some, you know, some donations together, and we started by getting our first home located on Lincoln Street, 105 Lincoln Street.
Okay.
And it was like a 5-bedroom house, and we started sheltering people in there. So the whole bills was covered for like 3 months. They didn't have to worry about the bills for 3 months. And after that, everybody just kind of covered their own room with a small amount of, you know, so everybody just started doing like a family, you know, taking care of all the bills together. It's been 2 years, everybody's still there. No, nobody has fallen into the addictions anymore. They all actually employed. There's a couple that are about to get married next month.
Wow.
So everything is just like great. And I was like able to see the results that we can do better, and that's all we need. Get them out of the streets, put them in a place where they can build.
Right.
And just call it home.
And that's very touching, JC, because so many people, with the likes of social media and popularity, I feel like a lot of people nowadays are trying to catch fame. Correct. And thinking that if I become famous or become this person with 1 million people who follow me,
correct,
then I made a difference in life and I fulfilled my purpose. But you're a prime example of that's not what life is all about.
Definitely
you can be one single person here, buying a house and sheltering the homeless. I mean, that's the story right there. We have people who are making billions of dollars, millions of dollars, who aren't taking the time to do that.
I know.
I mean, it's great to donate to a nonprofit organization, but even then, you don't know how they're funneling their money.
That's correct.
And here, you took the initiative to personally make sure that the money was being funneled properly, and you're seeing the results.
That's right. That's right. And believe it or not, I met some great and amazing people in the streets. People who think that they're just drug addicts and alcoholics, you know, but I met lawyers.
Lawyers.
Yes.
Wow.
I met people that had like wealth. They had mansions, they had cars, they had doctors. I met a lot of people that basically had it good. Husbands, you know, fathers. I met, you know, mothers actually in there in the streets, where they only had like a dramatic event in their lives. Like one individual lost his mom, and he shut down. So he started drinking, and now the drinking is what destroyed him from the depression that felt from losing his mother.
Okay.
You know, another father saw his daughter suicide. So all these things, you know, affect the people, and you think that they're there primarily because of the alcohol and the drugs, but it's not, because it happened, an event happened to them that pretty much destroyed them.
And what we're seeing here, do you and your group of community helpers or volunteers write personal notes on these boxes to show them that they are loved?
That was a beautiful thing. Some of the youth that basically was volunteering, we had them, you know, say, we're just not going to serve the meal. We want to make sure it has a message, a seed that we can plant in their minds and their hearts, that somebody actually took the time to deliver a positive message. And as you can see, we caught one in there.
Yeah, this is amazing.
So it was great. It was great.
That's wonderful. And how important is it to, I feel like with your work and what you're doing with other community members, you're in essence breathing life back into these people who have lost it, like you said, through some type of depression, a death in the family.
That's correct.
But it's so much needed. Some people think that it could be religion or mentors or things like that. But talk to us about your experience with this.
So there was a time in my life when I lost everything. You know, I lost everything. I had to start from scratch. And there was a time, like I said, people reject you, people push you away. They have their own perceptions about who you are. They don't even want to know you because they already think they have figured you out. And I know what that feeling is. I have experienced what it is to feel depressed. I have, you know, the experience of feeling alone. You know, all these things that these homeless individuals are facing today.
Right.
And I can say that honestly, if it wasn't because of God and, you know, going back to my faith that my parents raised me with, most of it, you know, was actually, my recovery was gained because of that, because of the belief.
Right.
But I can never disregard the individuals that saw me, you know, that saw the value in me and invest the time to either just make a phone call or come visit me. One of them is Malakia Reyes. He's another great mentor of mine. So we have Will Resto. We have I have a lot of individuals right now, but you know what I'm saying? He's Coker, which is Antoinette Coker. These were mentors in my life that took the time to just breathe into me. Right. And when I was able to recover, when I was able to feel better, I just applied the same thing that was given to me by grace into these individuals. And it's been working. You know, it's been working. People just want that quality time. What we're lacking of is the connection of humans.
That's right.
You understand? That can actually give each other the value that they deserve.
And what I like about you is you don't have to believe in God for you to be connected. And all these homeless people, a lot of them who are not into a belief system or religion, you're still reaching out to them and you're helping them find their way navigating through life.
That's right.
How important is it to be inclusive, especially in the day and time that we live in this country where it's been going crazy. If you're not following a certain person or believing a certain thing, but you're like, you know, get rid of all of that, get rid of all the titles. Who are you as a person? Why are you still here? What is your purpose? You still have purpose.
I'm going to basically say this first. When I was telling you that we can always do more, I think that's where it started. When I told myself I can do more, I literally took my finished basement and I put 6 to 8 beds there and started taking the individuals that I saw in Ronnie Square and put them in my house. I gave them the taste and the feeling of what home is. We would sit down and have conversations about their lives. They would wake up in the morning, they would cook. I found some good cooks, and believe it or not, and they just feel home. And you can see, like, for at least 2 weeks, the breakthroughs, the tears that we all basically share with one another. You know, families, they started calling their families, and people, the parents and brothers, sisters will come to the house and they will reunite. Listen, there's so much that's happening. But what I'm trying to say is that after that happened, and you tell yourself, we can do more. It took me to that place where you value them for who they are, number one. And you deliver slowly, one heart at a time. There's never no rush when it comes to me. The reason why I'm doing this is because while everybody's after the multitude, it's literally just valuing one individual at a time, you know? One woman, one man that we can just take out from this place can create a ripple effect. The motto of H4H is that we empower individuals so they can empower others. So if I can take the time to make sure that one individual makes it through their struggles, that they can survive, that they can, you know, overcome, I know that they become witnesses of their own victory. And they will pass it on to whoever can relate to you understand, like the same struggle that they went through, you know, and that's where my whole energy is invested on, believe it or not. And it's been great. It's been great, and it's my reward is to see the outcome from being broken to a place where they actually give into someone and breathe into someone else.
Their breakthrough. You guys can see their breakthrough, their whole process.
That is my reward.
And what made you think about the homeless? I mean, because I've seen videos where you've walked through these tents, you've talked to heroin addicts, single mothers who got addicted to heroin.
Correct.
It's such a big problem in our community, drugs. And you've taken the time to work with these individuals and help them go through that pain.
I believe that I had emailed you a video that I did like a documentary of 3 individuals that I took my time to work with them. Unfortunately, one of them was my best friend. He passed away, you know, because he was a user at that time. But it was a time when he actually volunteer for H4H, and he was helping individuals as well. But he was going through a lot of issues with his ex-wife, and he wasn't able to see his children, and that's what was killing him. And in one moment, it just took one moment of a denial that he wasn't able to see his children that put him back to the drugs. And when he took the drugs, it was something new and killed him. So it's sad because he had called me the night before he passed away. He said, "I need you, man." And that day it snowed, and I couldn't get to him. And that really broke my heart to the point where I was like, my God. So it was a matter of, this is a matter of time now. You know, like, I got to do as much as I can to rescue these individuals. There was a young lady, she was actually a prostitute back in the days, also a user. And I gave her a ride. I bought her some coffee and some donuts. She was offering her services, like, "No, I'm not that kind of guy. Nevertheless, I'm here because I want to know your story." And she looked at me crazy, like, "Are you a cop?" I said, no. "How you got here?"
Right.
And she started breaking the story down. And apparently her hair was like a whole dread. So she had a migraine. She was crying. She was in pain. She was embarrassed, ashamed, because it's not who she was.
Right.
And automatically, when she showed me her hair, I said, "Let's take care of this now." I took her to this salon. Her name is Michelle Mercado.
Okay.
She has a beautiful salon there. I said, "Listen, this is my friend. I need you to fix her hair." And she looked at me and was like, "Okay." I came back an hour later. She was transformed. Like, the whole salon was in tears, number one, because everybody knew who she was and they heard her story.
Right.
But then she was like, "Don't worry about it. It's on us." I say, "God bless." What happened was that this young lady, she got arrested the next day. She got arrested the next day, and was literally in jail, thinking about everything that I spoke to her.
Wow.
You know, about, you know, how there's hope. She can make a change. And those words sank into her spirit, because this is what happened. 6 months later, when she got out of jail, she went for a 6 months detox. Her mother found me with her, came to my job and found me, and they all in tears thanking me for what I was able to do with her daughter. And it didn't end there. I said, "Okay, well, now you're good, you detox, you're good, let's work on your resume, let's get you a job." Today she is a manager at the El Diablo restaurant. Not only that, but she had lost a daughter to the system. Guess what? Today she has a daughter, she has her own home, and she's a manager of the restaurant, which is wonderful. All this within a year and a half.
You're gonna make me tear up.
I'm telling you.
You know, because these are the stories that matter, and I feel
Yes.
like we get so caught up in our career and being the next thing that we want to be, and these people are just trying to live.
Exactly.
They're just trying to make it.
Exactly.
And you're right there with them.
The beautiful thing is that we was able to capture, because I wanted to see this. That's when I was doing a documentary. I asked her exactly, "What do you want to achieve?" And then you see in this video the list of the things she wants to achieve. And that's exactly what she did.
Wow.
You know, so sometimes it just takes someone that believes in you. You know,
right.
If you have somebody that can believe in you and invest time to just make sure that you make it, it happens. You know,
right.
It happens. But the problem today, I don't even want to talk about the problems, but, you know.
We're talking about solutions.
Yeah, solutions is basically just, you know, valuing individuals. We value individuals. Okay, all right, you did that in the past. Well, you're here today. What do you want to change today? What can I do for you today so you can become better?
That's right.
And that's what it's about.
And we're moving forward, JC. You really care about these people. You shared with me that even last night, you flew in from Puerto Rico last night. You came from Puerto Rico to be here with us today.
Yes.
And it's just amazing your commitment to your mission and who you're and what you're doing for these people.
Yes.
And even though you're going back to Puerto Rico, you've joined with you've partnered with a couple people here in Delaware and New Jersey to make sure that this continues on while you do your thing and headquarter overseas and well, not overseas, it's still United States
I hear you.
territory. But
No,
this is amazing how you're still making everything intactful. Like it's not going to break.
Every time that I talk about H4H, and it took me a minute, I said that, H4H is not really an organization. It's not a company. It's not.
Right.
I'm H4H. You are H4H. We are Hope for Humanity. And that's, and I'm a little emotional right now because that's what it means.
Right.
Everyone is H4H. You understand? So, and that's how I always introduce this movement. So that you can say, I'm H4H. You know why I'm H4H? Because I've taken the time to just breathe into someone else. And that's all it takes. That's all it takes. So we're not a company. We're not, we're not an institution. None of that.
Right.
We're people that have gotten together with one vision, is to help one another and value one another.
That's right. And this is amazing just to see everyone come together for that cause, that same vision.
Yes. So they were definitely, they helped out a lot. Oh my God, they had some good food, some soul food. It was a happy day.
It's a different kind of potluck.
Yes,
and
definitely.
before we go, you actually, I don't know if a lot of people know about this, but you're into music and writing.
So yes. I had put it down for a few years. And now, apparently, like I said, it seems I have overcome a lot of emotional and mental, oppression, I'm gonna call it.
Okay.
This new inspiration has come back to me where I'm writing again. So this friend of mine is like, hey man, he literally just called me out of the blue moon. He was like, listen, what's good, man? What are you gonna record? What happened to all the music? And I just took like I closed my eyes and I said, you know what? I'm leaving right now. I'm gonna pack my stuff and I'm just gonna go there where you are. And believe it or not, it was a very radical choice. I left everything and I went to Puerto Rico. I spoke to him, I had a great time there. I was able to renovate my mind and everything. And so they are going to record, not only record, but they're working on videos and possibly between us, make a story of my life.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so it's going to be very interesting.
It is.
Yes.
And I will be staying in tune with the rest of us.
So the name of the CD is going to be called Lo Mejor de Mí.
Okay.
The best of
The
me.
best.
Yes. So I'm very grateful. I'm grateful of what God is doing, and the people that I've had supporting me, that they're behind me.
That's
Every
right.
time that I'm losing, like, no, let's go. I'm very grateful for that, and I'm gonna make it count, and definitely gonna make it memorable.
Yes, you are and you have been. Thank you so much for your
Thank you.
time. I know this is not the last of you. You're going overseas. You're going to continue on with your mission.
Thank you, Yesenia.
And we're just very grateful to have an individual like you on earth who's continuing to help other people. So thank you so
Amen.
much, JC.
Thank you.
And on behalf of all of us here at WITN 22, I'd like to take this opportunity to say thank you so much for watching this episode of In Focus. I've been your host, Yesenia Taveras.